Now let's get right to Dan Dolev, Managing Director, Senior Analyst at Fintech Equity Research at Mizuho Securities USA. Glad you're with us. I always give you the credit that you called Square. When it was at $60, you moved it to 85 and 100, and you were the first one I heard saying that. So I always respect your insight. And you talked about the Cash App being a big proponent for a name like Square. In the world of fintech, before we get to the specific names that you have to speak about today, tell me about how you think fintech is positioned.
Thanks again for the kind words, Nicole. Always a pleasure to be on your show. So I think overall fintech is still at very, very early stages. So if you think about kind of like where is fintech taking share from, it's taking share from very established industries like banks, right? Hundreds of billions of dollars of profit every year. And fintech is still kind of a small sector taking share away from all these big banks. We talked about the Cash App, we talked about Robinhood, we talked about all these things. SoFi, for example. So there's still so much room for growth for these neobanks and next-gen fintech apps that I think that we're really still in the very, very early stages. So the position is great.
Yeah. And I know you sat down with the head of Sezzle, and you had some takeaways from that meeting and how it's positioned against some of the competitors. Some people never even heard of this company, but what's the big picture here?
Yeah, so we don't cover Sezzle, but I did sit down. We had a lunch with the head of Sezzle, co-founder Charlie Joachim, and we were very, very interested to hear. They're basically in the same space like the big boys, right? The Affirms of the world, the Afterpays of the world, and in the note that we published, we saw that the metrics for Sezzle were very similar to the metrics from, for example, Afterpay in terms of engagement, in terms of like the number of, they have more merchants, for example, in the U.S. than in Afterpay, right? Over 40,000 merchants versus 28 something for Afterpay. So all these metrics looked really interesting, and so we came away thinking, hey, they're from on a comparative basis, they are definitely not behind some of the more celebrated peers.
Yeah, and Affirm, I just plugged it in because I know it's been running hot. I mean, there's so much volume on this company for Affirm. 1 month it's up 55% as we look at this. Tell me another name in the group. I think Mogo, which is a Canadian company, but we can type in MOGO and check this one out, right? Because it competes against the likes of Square, right? Tell us about that. Do you like it? Is it a buy?
So yeah, we don't cover Mogo, so just to be very clear. But in terms of like, we did host the founder, the co-founder, and president of Mogo, for another dinner. And again, we look at the what we came out of the dinner thinking is, hey, they are in Canada, and they have a lot of similarities. And this is what we said in the note. They have a lot of similarities to, for example, what the Cash App would do in the U.S. in terms of their capabilities. Crypto capabilities, trading capabilities. So we're always interested in seeing some other competitors that we don't necessarily cover and host them and learn what they're doing. And Mogo was one of them, and that's kind of what we did in our write-up.
Makes sense. It makes sense. So let's get to Square and PayPal, some of the names that we're used to you talking about at this point. What do you think as we take a look at these names? Obviously, they've been favorites because of what they do and being in digital. But of late, not as much action. Where do we stand now on a name like Square, for example? What's your call?
Right. So, look, this is one of the rare opportunities to probably buy Square on the cheap end right now, where it's trading in the mid 250s. And the reason for that is everyone is worried about the deceleration in the Cash App. And the reason the Cash App, which is kind of what we've been talking about for years, and you and I have been talking about, is decelerating. It's because it's coming off of really tough compares. Remember, COVID was a great boost for them. A lot of people got, spent a lot more money on the Cash App, and they got a lot more users during COVID. So it's all a matter of tough compares. I think what the stock is not pricing in, and we had management on the road last week, and the Cash App business leads, and what they're talking about right now is the engagement, right? The number of times people are using the app is actually starting to pick up, and they're going into, say, maybe a kind of a up market in terms of like the the wealth of the customers. So what it means is that on an apples-to-apples basis, the same customers is doing more business with the Cash App today than they did last year. And what we think is that over time, this might more than offset the downloads. At some point, you're going to have so many users. They have 70 million annual users. Like, how many more users can you get in the U.S.? Now it's a game of increasing the revenue that you're getting per user, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Okay, and are you a fan of PayPal, which I saw in one report they said it fell behind in the buy now, pay later. Does it have a comeback plan? Tell me a little bit about PayPal. Are you a fan of this one?
Yeah, we're big fans of PayPal. Look, PayPal is just so big. You've got 400 million customers, 30 million merchants. They're global. There's the only true global pure e-com network, right? If you think about the networks, you've got Visa and MasterCard. We're fans of both. But they're both e-com and they're in-store and they're everywhere. You only have one global true e-com checkout network, and that's PayPal. And everything they do, everything they touch in the past has turned into gold. So right now, what's to get excited about PayPal is that they're going to go, in my view, they're going to go deeper into commerce. They're going to integrate more commerce into the app. And I think that over time, it's not going to be just a checkout app. It's going to be a super app, which you can check out online. You can, explore things to buy, and you can also, pay other people, make investments, trade, crypto, trade stocks. So it's, they're also eyeing the super app, but they're doing it on a much larger scale than anyone else. And that's what's so exciting about them.
Very exciting. And you're saying these are some good times to get in. You said buy Square, it's on the cheap end now in these mid 250s. It's great to see you, Dan. Thank you always for your insight in this FinTech group. Managing Director, Senior Analyst, FinTech Equity Research, Mizuho Securities USA. Thanks, Dan.